So earlier today for people living in Europe, yesterday for people living in North America, a new game mode for Splatoon 2 called Clam Bitz dropped, and this is a new ranked battle game mode. In this video I will be talking about how to play this game mode, just because when I did play this game mode today, I felt like a lot of the people in the lobby didn't know how to play it. So I thought I would go through how to play this game mode before. So like if you do want to play this game mode, this is a good video for you to watch before you do actually jump in the game mode, so that you know what to do. So pretty much what this game mode is about is you got to pick up these little shells, and they are called clam shells. And pretty much what you need to do is go to the opposition base and throw them into like a basket. And pretty much what you need to do before you do that is you need to collect 10 clam shells, and then the clamshells will turn into like an American football, and then you got to throw that American football at the basket, and it will then break the barrier, and then you can chuck in the clamshells into the basket. Now pretty much what you need to do whenever somebody does have the 10 clamshells gathered, you need to pretty much stay close to that person so that you can protect them from enemy fire, so that then they can go up to the enemy base and take down the barrier from the basket. I'm just calling it the basket, I'm not sure what the exact name is for it. But pretty much another tip I would say is, once you got your 10 clamshells, gather around teammates, because if you just go on your own, you will only just break the barrier and you won't really score any points. When you do chuck in the clamshells, it is 3 points every time you chuck them in. So you need your teammates around you, because you do break the barrier, and then you got like a short time to chuck in the clamshells before the barrier does appear again on the enemy basket. So if you do have the 10 clamshells gathered, and once it does turn into like a massive American football, again I'm not sure what the exact name is, but once you do have that, make sure you are staying around teammates, so that once you do break the barrier, then those teammates can then chuck in their clamshells and then get down the score limit. So pretty much another little tip is that, say like if the enemy broke the barrier on your basket, once the time limit ends, then pretty much the barrier will drop on the floor, and this will be an American football. So pretty much you don't need to gather like the 10 clamshells. All what you need to do is pick that up, surround yourself with your teammates, and then go to the enemy base and then lob it into the enemy basket. But you've got to be really accurate when you are throwing the American football at the enemy barrier, just because it doesn't really throw that far, so you've got to go quite close before you throw it. So that's just pretty much what the game mode is. If you do try and just run up to the enemy barrier and try and chuck in your clams, it just won't work. Your clamshells will just bounce off the barrier, and all what you will achieve is that it will make it easier for the opposition team to pick up clamshells at their base and then go to your spawn and then attack your basket. In terms of what weapons I would use for this game mode, well, pretty much this game mode is really suited to the brushes. I think it's way too suited to the brushes, just because it's just so easy just to go up against a brush and then that's it, you're dead pretty much instantly. You can just get taken out really quickly. This game mode is definitely really hectic, and it definitely is close quarter like situations happening all of the time. So I definitely would use weapons that you are comfortable with in terms of close quarter situations. I guess it all depends on the map, just because I played on Port Mackerel and I was coming up against people using the Splattershot Pro, but pretty much most of the maps are quite closed in, so I would suggest for you to use weapons that are best suited to close quarter situations. You will come up against brushes quite a lot, so maybe use a brush yourself. I don't really know any other way to counter the brush. In terms of gear abilities, you want to move quickly, so maybe you want to use run speed up and swim speed up as well. So yeah, like what I said, this game mode is really hectic, but once you get the enemy barrier down, you gotta not care about your kills and your deaths. You just gotta chuck your clamshells into the basket. That's what my advice for you. Don't care about getting kills and how many deaths you get. It's all about playing the objective, in my opinion. So yeah, this game mode is really different to the other ranked modes. I'm not really sure if I'm a fan of it, and I will talk about that in a future video. One more tip for Clam Blitz is, if there is nobody on your team staying back and protecting your base, then I would suggest for you to do that, just because you do need somebody to protect your base so that nobody comes along with an American football and then lobs it at your barrier, and then the enemy team comes along and then throws their clamshells and then gets points. When a barrier does break, you can't break the other barrier. So I would suggest for one of your team to hang back. Solo play, it is quite hectic, so yeah, if nobody's doing it on your team, then I would suggest for you to hang back to protect your base. But that's just pretty much it for this quick little video, just to give you a few little tips and tricks before you do go into this game mode if you haven't already done so. So that's it for this little video. Not really the most expert player at Splatoon 2. These are just little things I noticed about the game mode. So yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed this video and found it useful. And yeah, we'll see you in my next video.